Welcome to Anime Hour. Today's video, we're going to talk about all the current black triggers we know about from the neighbor world trigger. The ending of World Trigger Season 1, we only know about 9 current black triggers within the anime. Remember, I'm going strictly what I've seen in the anime. I haven't read the manga, so manga readers, if you know about any other black triggers that I did not name within this video, please comment down below. With that being said, let's get into the video. The first couple black triggers we're going to discuss are the triggers from After Crater. If you didn't know, After Crater was responsible for the second main invasion on Earth within the anime. And during that invasion, we got to see 4 new black triggers. Now, bear with me if I don't pronounce them right. Don't crucify me in the comment section. The first black trigger we're going to cover is Volvoros. Volvoros' ability allows the user to literally take full control of its Trion body. What I mean about full control of their body, I mean literally full control. They can make their body into a liquid and into a gas, which damn near makes them immune to attack. As we saw in the anime when Egret was fighting the border agent, when they was attempting to attack him, he literally wasn't taking no damage. Even when Cosmo decapitated him, he just basically snapped his head back on like nothing happened. So yeah, you can kind of say Volvoros' defense is pretty high, but that doesn't mean you can't go on the offensive with Volvoros. Remember, I said you can basically manipulate your Trion body into liquid and gas, so you can liquefy your body to sneak up on or get closer to your enemy and then instantly turning it back into a solid and making it into a blade or a spike and then just cutting down your enemy. Not only that, when you turn yourself into a gas, your enemy can easily inhale you without their knowledge, and then you can turn your body that's inside them back into a solid, which is then again a spike or a blade. Now, even though Volvoros is a very strong black trigger, it still have a weakness. It may seem like it's completely immune to attacks, but the user of Volvoros basically keep its vital organs within a shell that's hidden throughout its Trion body. And once your enemy finds out where your shell is located, it's gonna be pretty hard defending against it. That's what you would have thought if this was a basic ass trigger, but no. With Volvoros, you can duplicate your vital shell to make dummy shells so you can put off your enemy. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty hard trying to take somebody down with the black trigger Volvoros. Now in the anime, Egret was the only user we saw of Volvoros, and he was killed by Myra after he got defeated by border agents. The next trigger is Spiroskia. I know. That's probably not how you pronounce it, but hell, that's how we gonna pronounce it today. Spiroskia. Spiroskia grants the trigger user wormholes, or basically gates, from point A to point B. You can say it's kind of similar to those small Trion soldiers that was making gates for bigger Trion soldiers to inhabit Earth. But what makes this black trigger so special is its functions a little bit more crazier. Because unlike most gate and teleports that you see in anime, the user most likely have to have been to that place before in order to teleport there or create a gate to that place. With Spiroskia, you don't need to be there before. If you have the correct coordinates, you can easily make a portal to that destination. As is shown in the anime, that was After Crater's first real invasion on Earth with black trigger users. And with the owner of Spiroskia, Myra's first time being there, she was easily maneuvering around the battlefield without having to actually see the destination or been there before. And of course, with those gates, you can teleport your allies to and from destinations with ease. Now, the offensive capability of Spiroskia aren't the best, but they are very utility based. Spiroskia can make small little portals that also have spikes within them that can attack their enemy and do pretty decent damage to their Trion body. Also, with those small portals, they can combine with another trigger user abilities where they can shoot within the small portal and pop another portal behind some enemy's back to attack them from behind. Now, that sounds all nice and cool, but the only downside of that, the enemy can also shoot within that portal, which would then redirect the bullet back towards the user of Spiroskia. So yeah, this trigger is not really offensive based, it's more of a utility skill, because also with the small portals you can also communicate with your allies, so it's pretty utility based. Our next trigger is the Organon black trigger. This black trigger seems to be probably one of the dopest black triggers within the anime, and apparently is one of the strongest black triggers of After Crater. When you activate Organon, the user has 5 concentric rings around its handle. Then the rings begin to expand outwards around the user. Keep in mind, these rings are moving at a very high speed, even if you're in a Trion body where your senses are heightened. And also on these rings are very extremely sharp blades. And with those blades, they can easily destroy a city block with no trouble at all. Hell, the blades are so sharp they cut through Yuma's weight ability on them with ease, and also his chain ability. And not only do they have these sharp blades that's constantly moving around the user, if the enemy of the Organon user ever get close, the Organon also can turn into a blade itself that is concealed inside it. And it also can make all the rings contract into a shield. So this black trigger is pretty OP. This is definitely one of the best black triggers that we've seen in season 1 of World Trigger. As of now, the only true user we know of the Organon black trigger is Visa. Now for the final after cradle black trigger is the Elector trigger. Now the Elector trigger is somewhat of a gunner type trigger. It uses bullets, but the bullets are animal shaped. Now these bullets aren't lightning quick, but they can do some unusual patterns unlike any regular Trion bullet. For instance, Heron, the user of Elector, used fish to cover his entire body from deadly attacks from border agents, basically making a fish shield. He also used lizards to sneak up on his opponent to get little cheap shots in. But that's not really Elector's true strength. Elector's true strength lies what happens when the bullet actually come in contact with something that has Trion. If anything Trion comes in contact with the Elector's bullets, it turns into a Trion cube. And yes, that does include border agents themselves, because technically they are in a Trion body once they turn on a trigger. So with that ability, Elector's offensive and defensive capabilities can be very strong. But there is one big loophole about Elector. If you turn off your trigger while being attacked by his Trion bullets, you cannot be affected, especially like a hologram just trying to attack you. It's not gonna do nothing to you. And also lead bullet, the bullet that goes through shield, also cannot be affected by Elector's bullets during the initial shot of lead bullet. But once come in contact with the user, Elector can turn the blade into Trion cubes. So Elector, another great black trigger, but the downside is, again, like I said, if you're not in your Trion body, you basically can give the user of Elector them hands. I mean, he can't really do nothing if you can't be affected by the ability of Elector. As of now, the only user of Elector that we've seen within the anime is Heron, which was the captain of the evasion mission from After Crater. Our next black trigger is Egret. Now the Egret black trigger is also a black trigger from the neighbor world. Now Egret becomes a black trigger after a autonomous Trion warrior by the name of Charon combines with it. Now Egret said before it combines with Charon and becomes a black trigger was used to make Trion soldiers. I believe that is the first trigger that we seen in the anime that was to have that ability to actually summon up Trion soldiers like a summoner. Now Egret's black trigger form also does the same thing, but the warriors that are summoned with the black trigger version of Egret are on another level. But with those strong Trion warriors that also come with a lot of strain on the black trigger user, it becomes so hard to try to control those Trion warriors and also sustain damage. Plus the huge setback on Egret's black trigger can be removed from someone's Trion body if they simply just cut it off their arm. Now the only person that we've seen use Egret within the anime was Gi. And that's all the current black triggers we know about in the neighbor world. Now, of course, there's many more black triggers that I did not cover within this video that I will cover in my next video, and that's going to be all the current border black triggers that we do know of. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can catch the next video I put out covering the borders black triggers. But anyway, guys, tell me how you feel about the video. If you like it, hit the like button. If you dislike it, hit the dislike button. Also, tell me which one of these black triggers that you like the most. In my opinion, hands down, the Organon black trigger is definitely the best black trigger from the neighbor world. But anyway, guys, I'm your host JP, and this is Anime Hour.